What you're building is what we call Bharat.
One of the weakest link in the Indian economy is agriculture. It's the largest and the weakest link. And if we can solve that, that can really change the face of the country.
Through Karkhana.io as a platform, if manufacturing could be transformed to a stage where more and more smart minds, more young engineers could aspire to build a career in, that is the image that at a personal level I want to create.
पैसा नहीं बनता ना इस मार्केट से.
There's a big misconception कि farmers बहुत गरीब हैं और उनसे पैसे बनाना बहुत मुश्किल है.
You know, it's so good to be talking to both of you क्योंकि आजकल conversation है on India and Bharat and somewhere none of us can ignore the fact that we are all coming from Bharat. We've come from Bharat, and both of you as entrepreneurs, Sonam, you with Karkhana.io, and Siddharth, you with Bharat Agri, both of you are serving Bharat. And you are entrepreneurs from Bharat. And right at the center of Bharat, both of you are from MP and building very fantastic, phenomenal businesses for this market. Tell us very quickly before we delve into what does it take to build for Bharat, tell us your stories.
So Karkhana.io is a managed platform for custom manufacturing. Here we work with OEMs and product companies to help set up a complete supply chain for their products. Be it a medical device, be it EV, or even a consumer appliance. We cater to companies across different product categories and take up complete end-to-end responsibility right from components to fully assembled products.
And what is most interesting is that you are serving the MSMEs of India, which are the backbone of the economy.
In fact, the way we do this is by aggregating capacities of multiple MSME manufacturing suppliers and help them get business across different product categories, across geographies, and just grow in a way where they don't have to invest in their own business development efforts.
And that was to a large extent broken, right? Before there was, did you see something like this before you started Karkhana?
We actually draw inspiration from some of the similar models that had worked outside India. And but the unique thing in India is that manufacturing is way more fragmented, right? If you see 85 to 90% of our manufacturing establishments are micro and small businesses, and spread across multiple industrial clusters. And in each of them are sort of limited to a single capability. So none of them have the ability to build a complete product by themselves. So that then limits them to what they can do. And that's where we saw an opportunity where it wasn't a solution that already existed, and it essentially made sense to build something that can combine this capacity and build a solution for OEMs, so that even OEMs have a much simpler way to build products, take their products to the market faster, and do it in a more time-efficient and cost-efficient manner.
To you, Siddharth, now tell us about Bharat Agri.
There are more than 14 crore farming families in India. And we have been hearing a lot in media that their incomes are not up to the mark.
Yes.
They are the weakest link in Indian economy. And if we can fix that, we can actually have India grow at a much faster pace in terms of economic growth. So their incomes are not up to the mark. The primary reason that their income is low is because most of the things that they do on their farm is the part of guesswork. They don't implement scientific techniques on the farm. Unfortunately, most of the farmers in India are not formally educated in agriculture. So they have been using their traditional knowledge. And that's the problem that Bharat Agri is trying to solve.
Yeah.
So Bharat Agri first provides them scientific techniques for their farm, where farmer can come and register their farm. We identify what are the problems that farmer can face, and we provide them scientific techniques. Like a doctor, we'll guide them that on this particular day, this is the activity that you should do, which will be personalized based on the weather, their soil, their farm. Everything will be personalized for their farm. And the solution that we suggest to them, like a doctor, we also sell all those solutions, which can be some kind of advanced seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, organic, chemical, growth promoters, anything and everything that the farmer needs in order to improve their farm is available on the Bharat Agri platform. So the vision is to improve their production from the same piece of land and reduce their cost. But at the same time, provide all the resources to them that they would need in order to increase the production. So it starts with providing them the right solution in terms of information, but at the same time provide them the resources, that is they may need some kind of advanced fertilizer or advanced growth promoter that will increase the production of the farm.
सिद्धार्थ, तो जो मैं समझ रही हूँ कि दे आर and just correct me if I'm wrong, that there are many platforms and many players whom we have also tracked, who give advisory services, but not just advisory services and knowledge and information to farmers, but you also provide उस advice के बाद जो end to end है कि उनको जो product चाहिए जो कि will lead to better yield, so you make that happen through Bharat Agri.
Like, that's precisely right. Yes. So it starts with providing them the right knowledge for their farm, but it ends with providing them that particular resource as well that they can buy from Bharat Agri, and it gets delivered to their house, any part of the country, within 3 to 4 working days. So any village, any pin code, we deliver it till their house.
To both of you, because the businesses that you are building is, of course, I'm assuming that both of you are here in Bengaluru, but what you're building is what we call Bharat, and what we also, the term that is now used is Middle India. What does it take to build for Middle India? Because last 10 years, we've seen a lot of businesses, build for us as consumers. मगर आपने अलग consumers, अलग segment चुना है, and you are building for that. So tell us, what does it take to build for that market?
One level deeper into explaining how MSME businesses look like. So on one side, in manufacturing, we talk a lot about, Industry 4.0, digitalization, and how that is the way forward. And we've been doing that for almost a decade. Industry 4.0 is not a newly coined term. But when it comes to MSMEs, a lot of factories that we work with, there will be one laptop, and the person who owns the factory generally has access to it. वो laptop internet से connected नहीं होगा. Because a lot of times, this is also a very commonly known fact about India, we don't like to pay for software, right? So अगर pirated version मिल रहा है तो वो install करके we would rather like to use that. Yes. So which means you would not want to connect to internet. And on the other side, what we are expecting is that digitalization is the way forward for manufacturing to grow. So all factories would be running with sensors everywhere, all data coming through different devices, and somebody is going to be able to monitor and take everything forward. A reality for a lot of large companies, but when in manufacturing, a large part of the ecosystem is MSMEs, that reality is not something that can only happen by talking about Industry 4.0. Even in MSME factories, every machine operator knows how to use an Android phone. They might not know how to use laptops. They might not know to use very fancy applications and sensors, etc. But Android phone is one thing that they're very comfortable with. So the approach we took was that how do we develop something that is extremely easy to learn on and very commonsensical and extremely similar to some of the apps that the machine operators would any which way be using, and make that as a starting point to at least bring in some level of digitalization in these factories, where at least we get to know when the machines are starting, when the machines are stopping, what is the sort of throughput that is coming there, and what is the current status quo of whatever manufacturing they are doing. With this minimum structure is how Karkhana.io platform sort of made its way across MSMEs.
You've gone and understood the MSMEs and beyond the jargons and the words and which we would be talking about. And अभी इंडस्ट्री 4.0 नहीं, अभी इंडस्ट्री 1.0 अच्छे से और मजबूती से बनाया जाए, और दैट इज़ वॉट यू आर डूइंग. टेल मी, हाउ डू यू ट्रैक कि ये यूज़ करने से, टेक्नोलॉजी यूज़ करने से अडॉप्शन हुआ है, एंड हाउ डू यू रीच आउट एंड टॉक टू MSMEs?
I mean, the starting point has been people on ground. So the way we approach this is, as I said, like most of the manufacturing facilities are scattered across multiple industrial clusters. So we go cluster by cluster. If we have relationships built with certain MSMEs in a certain cluster, through them we get connected to other manufacturing suppliers as well. Initially, like in fact, so today we have 400 plus suppliers, but the first 100 suppliers were actually built by going to each factory, talking to them about what we are trying to do. In fact, hand-holding them with the entire onboarding of the platform. And in fact, on a daily basis for a month, tracking if they are facing any challenge. अगर नहीं use किया तो क्यों नहीं use किया? And the intent is that we don't want to monetize on the usage of this technology. The idea is that if by using this technology their business grows, that is what would essentially help us get more revenue. The approach has been very grounded in the sense that go to each factory, bring them up to the platform to start with. Now, in a particular MSME factory and especially the sectors that we work in, most of these factories would have installed machines in tune with getting a certain type of business. For example, if a certain factory is working with an automotive OEM, उन्होंने casting के लिए या machining के लिए कुछ plant बनाया होगा. Now, to explain a little better, so these are processes to manufacture metal components that would go into a vehicle. They would have put in a certain capacity. But a lot of times, most of these MSMEs would be working with 2 to 3 companies, जहाँ से उनको continuously business आ रहा है, and that is sufficient to fill their machines to a stage कि भाई machine का EMI निकल रहा है. A lot of times what happens is that if one of these businesses pulls out, या demand कम हो गया, and few years ago we all saw automotive में ये हुआ भी था. Half of these factories had a lot of idle capacity, which means, but उनको अपने workers को तो wages pay करने ही है. They have to still serve EMIs, they still have to serve utility costs, etc. So now in that scenario, if they are limited to working with only a few businesses, that is a very risky way of doing business, and that is the reality that most MSMEs also face. Now, in such a scenario, how do they continue? And because these are generally single promoter led, they don't have the ability to go develop business across multiple geographies, that somebody, a factory in Pune going to Coimbatore or Bangalore or down like up north and seeking business from there is not something that they are able to do, because one person, his entire time goes into running the factory and all the decision making that comes with it. So there is not a lot of second layer of technical and managerial talent that can take it up, right? So then in such a scenario, what we are trying to build is that can Karkhana.io become a platform that helps them get business, which would fill their machines, which is aligned with the kind of capacity they have involved, which is tuned to the experience that they already have. अगर उन्होंने किसी टाइप की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पहले करी है, क्या उसी तरह की मैन्युफैक्चरिंग ऑर्डर्स हम उनको और लाके दे सकते हैं without them having to put all the effort to do that, which any which way they are not very keen to do.
अब मुझे पता चल रहा है कारखाना कितना ज़रूरी है MSMEs के लिए, and what you're doing, which is very powerful, because demand, while you're solving for you're also creating demand for all these businesses. If you had to say that Bharat Agri की वजह से ये डेल्टा हुआ है, पड़ा है इनके जीवन में, तो how would you say?
Our core aim is to provide the right scientific techniques to farmers. As of today, there are more than 1 lakh farmers जिन्होंने हमारी scientific techniques use की हैं. एंड वी ट्रैक देम रेगुलरली कि उनको क्या फ़ायदा हुआ है हमारी साइंटिफिक टेक्निक्स यूज़ करके. वी हैव सीन कि ऑन एन एवरेज उन फार्मर्स का जो प्रोडक्शन है फ्रॉम द सेम पीस ऑफ लैंड अप टू 25% इंक्रीज हुआ है. एंड एट द सेम टाइम उनका कॉस्ट भी 10% कम हुआ है. सो उनका एक पीस ऑफ लैंड है, सिंपल इक्वेशन से इसकी अगर और उसमें इन्वेस्ट करो और पैसा डालो विद बेटर फर्टिलाइजर्स बेटर पेस्टिसाइड्स तो प्रोडक्शन बढ़ेगा. बट नॉट एवरी फार्मर कैन अफोर्ड टू डू दैट क्योंकि इट टेक्स अपफ्रंट कॉस्ट एंड देयर इज नो गारंटी कि प्रोडक्शन बढ़ेगा और आपको उसका राइट मार्केट प्राइस भी मिलेगा. सो आर मेजर सेलिंग पॉइंट इज कि हम आपका प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा के देंगे वाइल रिड्यूसिंग द कॉस्ट. तो आपका अपफ्रंट कॉस्ट कम हुआ है, प्रोडक्शन बढ़ा है. एंड हमारा सोर्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू ये है कि जब हम एज अ डॉक्टर आपको कोई प्रिस्क्रिप्शन दे रहे हैं, गाइड कर रहे हैं, तो वो मेडिसिन वो सीड्स भी आप हमसे खरीदोगे तो आपको और ज़्यादा फायदा होगा. ओवरऑल we have been able to increase the production of 1 lakh farmers by more than 20%.
Wow, that is a huge, huge, huge number.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very significant. In your marketplace, do you have this quality assurance? Because as we know, and I don't want to name companies and organizations, people have been pushing, and some of the large companies, multinationals, have been pushing their products and pesticides and everything. So how do you ensure that what you are prescribing and selling is adhering to quality?
One major core principle that we follow in our company is कि जो हमारे साइंटिस्ट हैं जो फार्मर्स को साइंटिफिक एडवाइस दे रहे हैं दैट इज कम्प्लीटली ड्रिवन बाय एल्गोरिदम. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक कि आप जाओगे तो कोई डॉक्टर आपको प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लिख के दे रहा है बिकॉज वी आर सर्विंग लैक्स ऑफ फार्मर्स. सो इट इज इम्पॉसिबल कि वन ऑन वन गाइडेंस होगी. सो इट्स कम्प्लीटली ड्रिवन बाय एन एल्गोरिदम. आवर साइंटिस्ट feeds input into algorithm. You will come on the platform, you will select your crop, you will put the sowing date, geography, and our algorithm will tell you कि आपको क्या करना चाहिए. एंड जो वो साइंटिस्ट हैं उनका KPI रेवेन्यू नहीं है. अगर उनका KPI हमने रेवेन्यू डाल दिया कि तुम कितने पेस्टिसाइड्स बेच पा रहे हो अपनी एडवाइस के थ्रू, तो उधर भी करप्शन आ जाएगा एंड दे विल ट्राई टू सेल मोर एंड मोर पेस्टिसाइड्स.
आई एम वेरी impressed that you got my question in so many different ways.
सो दे इंश्योर कि उनका एम रेवेन्यू नहीं है, उनका एम है कि फार्मर को उस पर्टिकुलर एडवाइस से फायदा हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. सो अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम्स वी एंड अप सेलिंग दोज प्रोडक्ट्स जिसमें मार्जिन कम है, रेवेन्यू कम है, बट वी नो कि उससे फार्मर का फायदा होगा. टॉप लाइन हमको मालूम है कि दैट फार्मर विल कम बैक एंड प्लेस ऑर्डर अगेन एंड अगेन बिकॉज उसको फायदा हुआ है. सो जस्ट अ वेरी recent example, I go and meet farmers, I talk to farmers very regularly, and I try to meet some of the farmers who are like power users. So there are a bunch of farmers जिन्होंने पिछले 4 महीने में more than 42 orders place किए हैं भारत एग्री पे. एंड व्हेन आई टॉक टू देम कि आपने क्यों इतने सारे ऑर्डर प्लेस किए, तो उनका आंसर ये नहीं होता है क्योंकि आपके यहाँ प्रोडक्ट सस्ते हैं या आपके यहाँ प्रोडक्ट बहुत अच्छे हैं. उनका आंसर ये होता है कि जब भी मैं आपके बताए हुए प्रोडक्ट यूज करता हूँ तो मेरे फार्म में जो प्रोडक्शन आता है वो बाकी सबसे बेटर होता है. तो माई एम इज टू कीप ऑर्डरिंग फ्रॉम भारत एग्री ओनली. तो हमारा रिपीट यूसेज बढ़ जाता है.
Question to both of you. One of the very big दो questions हैं in fact. एक है कि यहाँ से people like us, and I'm categorizing people like us who would have come from wherever but went to a certain sort of school and college and are English speaking and living in a different environment. उस type के लोग to build for middle India, वहाँ पे जाने के लिए rather than having a third party knowledge, one has to to build anything you need to be that. तो आप वो कैसे करते हैं क्योंकि आप उस मार्केट के लिए बिल्ड किए हैं और कर रहे हैं एंड अच्छे से. सो हाउ हैव यू डन दैट? सो टेल अस एज एंटरप्रेन्योर्स व्हाट यू डन डिफरेंटली टू बिल्ड. द अदर थिंग इज दैट पैसा नहीं बनता ना इस मार्केट से, मतलब तो पैसा बना रहे हैं, अगर बना रहे हैं तो कितना बना रहे हैं और कैसे बना रहे हैं वो भी बताइए.
बिल्डिंग फॉर मिडिल इंडिया इज डिफिकल्ट, at the same time it is exciting. We hear from lots of people who are much more experienced than us ki at any stage of the company, either it's early stage or you are in late growth stage, you have to keep interacting with your customers, and the top management has to fix specific time to talk to the customers and keep improving your product. Now you are living in Koramangala in Bangalore. If you are building a food tech startup or if you are building a fintech startup, you just knock on your neighbor and take a feedback and improve your product. In one day you can at least meet 15 to 20 potential customers, but if you are building for farmers it's really difficult. So what we do in our company is that, at least I personally, 7 days a month, earlier what we were doing, I used to just talk to few farmers every day in evening. I'll call them, I'll tell them who I am, I'll ask them that you have been using Bharat Agri, how's your experience. But what I realize is that they get overwhelmed when they get such calls, and most of their answers are not honest by their heart. They try to impress me, or they try to give a very good impression. So then I started a very simple schedule that 7 days to 10 days a month I live in a village, and I will live with the farmers and will try to observe how they are using my product. We came to know that if they want to purchase three things in a month, three fertilizers or three pesticides, they place two orders with Bharat Agri, but one they still go to a local shop, which they will never tell me on phone. But I am just observing them that ये जब चाहिए था तो वो जाके खरीदा. Then I'll find out क्यों खरीदा, and then I'll try to put that in my product कि shopkeeper ऐसा क्या दे रहा है जो मेरी ऐप नहीं दे पा रही है. So it's really difficult because 7 days you have to travel, you have to live in extreme heat, and then sometimes the food doesn't work out, sometimes the hygiene doesn't work out, but you have to do that. Otherwise most of the customer feedback you will get would be superficial. बट जब तुम वहाँ विजिट करके आओगे, फार्मर से मिल के आओगे, तो तब रियलाइज होगा कि वो क्यों नहीं मूव कर रहा है, एंड देन इट विल स्टार्ट मूविंग.
In our case, because it is a two-sided platform, जो हमारा demand है, that comes from, OEMs, companies who are building products like EVs, medical equipment, consumer appliances, aerospace components. So one is उनकी requirements समझना. Because all of these products that we manufacture through our platform, it's not trivial. राइट हर कंपनी का अपना रिक्वायरमेंट है, जिस तरह से उन्होंने ये प्रोडक्ट्स डिज़ाइन किए हैं, जो उनके टेक्निकल रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं. लाइक इवन टुडे वन व्हीकल वुड बी वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम अनदर व्हीकल. वॉट वन व्हीकल रन्स ऑन would be different from what another vehicle would run on. The technology is different. The kind of specifications that they would have is very different. So हम generalize नहीं कर सकते हैं even from one customer to another. If we are building for them, so first part is even understanding कि उनको क्या चाहिए अपने supply chain में. क्या उनके लिए certain types of materials, certain very high precision manufacturing processes, certain requirements on the quality side कितना important है. अभी medical equipment अगर हम बना रहे हैं तो वहाँ पर कुछ तरह के certifications हैं जो बहुत important है. Factories में एक certain standard होना चाहिए जो बहुत important है. और क्योंकि यहाँ से हमारी demand आ रही है, then having a very good understanding of this is what then gives us the ability कि किस customer के लिए किस type के suppliers हमें यूटिलाइज करने चाहिए. तो ये जो इवन ऑर्डर फ्लो है कि अगर कंपनी ए है, उनका इस तरह का प्रोडक्शन है और आज से 1 साल में उनका प्रोडक्शन इतना ग्रो होने वाला है, तो हम किस तरह के सप्लायर्स आज एंगेज करें ताकि ये स्केल हम उनको दे पाएँ उनके सप्लाई चेन में, वर्सेस से रिलेटिवली अर्ली स्टेज कंपनी जो अभी महीने में 100-200 प्रोडक्ट्स बना रहे हैं, अगले 1 साल में 1000-2000 प्रोडक्ट्स बनाएंगे पर मंथ. उनके लिए अलग तरह की सप्लाई चेन रिक्वायरमेंट है क्योंकि वहाँ उनको ज़्यादा एजिलिटी चाहिए, उनका प्रोडक्ट फ्रीक्वेंटली चेंज होगा. तो किस तरह के सप्लायर्स हम एंगेज करें जो वहाँ पर क्वालिटी और टाइमली डिलीवरी दे पाएँ. हमारे लिए ये दोनों साइड समझना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Tell us, do you make money and how easy or difficult it is? I think making money is never easy, but how do you make money from this segment that you operate in?
For us, we make money as a margin between what our suppliers charge us and what we charge to our customers. So we have a markup there. On a monthly basis, today we are doing a business of 7 to 8 crores per month. So that is the value of products that we build through our platform.
So it's first important to understand the persona of the farmer whom we are targeting. There's a big misconception कि farmers बहुत गरीब हैं और उनसे पैसे बनाना बहुत मुश्किल है. To understand the pyramid, there are 14 crore farming families, जिसमें से जो 50% farming families है, approximately 7 crores, they come at the bottom of the pyramid. उनसे पैसे कमाना एक्चुअली बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. तो बॉटम 50% नहीं टारगेट कर सकते क्योंकि वो एक्चुअली पुअर हैं. टॉप 1% से आइडिया लगता है कि पोटेंशियल कितना ज़्यादा है. तो बीच में जो 49% फार्मर्स हैं जो बहुत ज़्यादा एस्पिरेशनल हैं, एम्बिशियस हैं, जो सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू देख रहे हैं कि यार वो एक्सपोर्ट करने वाला फार्मर कितना अमीर हो गया, उसने कल कार खरीदी, उसने कुछ ट्रिप करी, तो मैं कब अमीर बनूंगा? तो मैं क्या करूं? मैं वो कंसल्टेंट अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता हूं, क्योंकि वो कंसल्टेंट 5,000 रुपये ले रहा है 1 घंटे के, मैं तो नहीं अफोर्ड कर सकता, तो मैं क्या करूं? सो वॉट आई विल डू इज आई विल सर्च ऑन यूट्यूब। जैसे अपन इंस्टाग्राम पे एस्पिरेशनल स्टोरीज सर्च करते हैं कि व्हेन विल आई बी एबल टू अफोर्ड अ ट्रिप टू मालदीव, व्हेन विल आई बी एबल टू अफोर्ड अ ट्रिप टू वेगस, वैसे फार्मर्स भी फेसबुक और यूट्यूब पे सर्च कर रहे हैं, हाउ कैन आई इंक्रीज माई इनकम फ्रॉम माई टोमेटो क्रॉप, हाउ कैन आई someday become rich to own a bike or own a car. And it's important that at that point of time we have to be present there, show them that this dream can be fulfilled by using simple scientific techniques. 50% farmers have money to spend, just that they are looking at services that can actually add value. Now Bharat Agri started this e-commerce just 1 year back, and as of today we do more than 35,000 orders every month, where farmers are placing orders on the app like we do on Flipkart, Amazon, which was unimaginable 3 to 4 years back.
Yes, brilliant, brilliant.
All these farmers are placing orders on the app, getting it delivered using UPI, using cash on delivery, and then giving us feedback like how an urban user does.
इस कस्टमर बेस में लॉयल्टी, रिपीट और अपने प्रति जो होता है ना, जो इंग्लिश में वर्ड कहते हैं मोट, अपना आप कैसे क्रिएट कर रहे हैं?
When again going back to the demand side, right? A lot of companies now, with the entire focus on increase in manufacturing, increase in the production, a lot of companies generally struggle working with MSME suppliers. They put in, अब एक कंपनी है अगर वो 500 सप्लायर्स के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, देयर इज़ ऑल्सो certain cost that goes with working with 500 suppliers vis-a-vis 50 suppliers, the number of people you will engage, जितना एंड स्पेशली जो टीम्स इन सप्लायर्स के साथ काम करती हैं, उनका दिन शुरू होता है फ़ोन उठा के पहले पता करना कि चल क्या रहा है, उनका प्रोडक्शन टाइम पे हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा, रॉ मटेरियल आया कि नहीं आया, कब निकलेंगे जो भी गुड्स मैन्युफैक्चर हुए हैं. एंड अगर हम डिमांड साइड के लिए ये जो कॉस्ट वो डालते हैं ये सब ऑपरेशंस की तरफ, वो कम कर सकते हैं. दैट इज़ वेयर दे आर कीन टू स्विच टू अ मॉडल जहाँ पर वो खुद के टीम्स नहीं लगा रहे हैं, बल्कि दे आर यूजिंग Karkhana.io एज अ प्लेटफॉर्म टू फॉर देयर ओन प्रोडक्शन, राइट? सो इन अ वे इट्स completely outsourcing the sourcing activity for their supply chain. And if we are able to keep doing this, keep delivering higher and higher value to these OEMs and product companies, where they can work with much lesser number of people, and they can focus on go-to-market for their products and leave out all sourcing and supply chain activities to us. That is where the moat comes. And being able to do it for such complex products. अगर हमें हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे ये डेटा मिल रहा है कि कस्टमर किस तरह के रिक्वायरमेंट्स दे रहा है, हमारे सप्लायर्स क्या क्या रॉ मटेरियल्स यूज़ कर रहे हैं, क्या मैन्युफैक्चरिंग प्रोसेसेस यूज़ कर रहे हैं, उस डेटा को यूज़ करके अगर हम ये उनको भी बता सकते हैं कि अच्छा अगले 6 महीने में हमें इतनी और मशीन्स की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी, और वो उस हिसाब से जब वो नई मशीन खरीदने वाले हैं, सो वो इस डेटा को यूज़ करके अकॉर्डिंगली मशीन खरीदे. So that's where the benefit to them also comes, to where to invest capex, where to invest more capacity building.
So we regularly ask our customers ki why did you buy from us? There can be various reasons. In e-commerce, one of the largest thing that we have heard in urban area is कि discount. Local दुकान से सस्ता मिल जाता है तो हम हमेशा ऑनलाइन ही खरीदते हैं. But that is something that we always ask from our customers कि आपने भारत एग्री से क्यों खरीदा, and what will make you stick to the platform. So there are two kind of reasons that we always get. The first thing is the major problem that they face is कि they don't know what to buy. If we fall sick in urban area तो अपन डायरेक्ट मेडिकल शॉप पे जाके दवाई नहीं ले सकते, क्योंकि अपन को पता ही नहीं है कौन सी दवाई लेनी है. तो अपन पहले डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, डॉक्टर बताते हैं कौन सी दवाई लो, फिर अपन शॉप पे जाते हैं. तो इट्स अ 2-step process. Unfortunately, in agriculture and specifically in India, the doctor piece is missing. फार्मर को मालूम ही नहीं है कि मुझे अपने खेत में क्या डालना है. तो एज लॉन्ग एज भारत एग्री टेल्स देम कि उनको क्या डालना है, एटलीस्ट वो उस पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए बार बार भारत एग्री पे आएंगे, क्योंकि हर सीज़न मौसम बदल रहा है, सॉइल बदल रहा है, क्रॉप बदल रहा है, उनके न्यू फर्टिलाइजर्स आ रहे हैं, न्यू सीड्स आ रहे हैं, तो दे ऑलवेज नीड कॉन्स्टेंट गाइडेंस कि उनको अपने खेत में करना क्या है, एंड वी आर दैट डॉक्टर टू गाइड देम. तो एज लॉन्ग एज वी प्रोवाइड देम right scientific advice, they'll keep coming back to us. So that is one of our two modes. But then the second question comes कि एक बार आपने बता दिया कि क्या लेना है एज अ डॉक्टर, तो कहीं से भी जाके ले सकता है, तो आपने अपना विजन तो फुलफिल कर दिया बट आपके पास रेवेन्यू नहीं आया. देन वी आस्क द कस्टमर कि आप भी तो ये कर सकते थे, हमने आपको बता दिया क्या डालना है, अब आप किसी दुकान पे जाके ले लो. तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली इंडिया का सप्लाई चेन एंड रूरल इंफ्रा इतना ब्रोकन है कि जब हम उनको सही दवाई और सही पेस्टिसाइड बताते हैं तो दे हैव टू ट्रेवल 20 किलोमीटर्स टू गेट दैट. उनके पास बाइक है तो दे हैव टू डू 40 किलोमीटर्स अप एंड डाउन, एंड इवन ऑन बाइक दे कैन ब्रिंग लिमिटेड प्रोडक्ट्स. वो बल्क में बहुत सारे फर्टिलाइजर्स नहीं ला सकते, तो दे ऑलवेज रन द मैथ कि मेरा पेट्रोल का कॉस्ट कितना होगा, प्लस कन्वीनियंस, राइट, कि उनको हाफ डे स्पेंड करना पड़ेगा जस्ट टू बाय सम फर्टिलाइजर्स एंड पेस्टिसाइड, जिसकी वजह से जो वो मेहनत खेत पे कर सकते थे वो नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो उनका क्रॉप इज लेफ्ट अनअटेंडेड, दे विल हैव टू लीव इट ऑन सम लेबर और सम रिलेटिव, एंड दे विल हैव टू ट्रेवल हाफ डे जस्ट टू ब्रिंग समथिंग. तो द सेकेंड थिंग इज large availability of fertilizers and pesticides that they can buy on their fingertips, ताकि दुकान पे जाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़े. So to ensure that our moat sticks to them, we have to ensure कि we provide them right scientific advice, and at the same time keep adding a lot of SKUs of right fertilizers and pesticides जो उनको fingertip पे available है, to for which otherwise they'll have to travel a lot and buy.
मज़ा किस बात का है जो बना रहे हैं, तो एज entrepreneurs what's the fun, what's keeping you excited?
One reason that we started Bharat Agri or chose this industry, so it is a story back in 2015-16, when most of the young people were excited to do something for the country. That was kind of a phase in the country where we wanted to do something, and I was a part of that group where I wanted to do something for the country. And a lot of news about how our GDP is growing, are we able to compete with other fast growing nations or not. And that is when I realized that one of the weakest link in the Indian economy is agriculture. It's the largest and the weakest link, and if we can solve that, that can really change the face of the country. That's how I got excited into this industry. So one thing that keeps us exciting is what is the impact that you are creating. Are you impacting more and more farmers positively or not? And at the same time trying to create a sustainable business so that you can keep doing it for decades and decades. So that's what keeps me excited.
I studied at IIT Bombay, and a lot of things that we hear about is that IIT में पढ़ के फिर अमेरिका चले जाते हैं, बैंक्स ज्वाइन कर लेते हैं, सरकार ने इतना पैसा डाला तुम्हारे ऊपर, तुमने उसका क्या किया, right?
And rightfully so.
And
the question,
but the other side, if you see, is also that though there would be a lot of smart engineers who study in all the premier colleges, they would want to pursue a career in a lot of these core areas of building, right? And manufacturing being one of the largest among those. But at the same time, and as you rightly said, right, manufacturing is not that glamorous. It is not that, it does not come across as that aspirational. When somebody
doesn't come across as easy at all.
Yes, and it does not come across as the first option to build your career in.
Yes.
So for me, the long-term, I'd say, personal vision has been that through Karkhana.io as a platform, if manufacturing could be transformed to a stage where more and more smart minds, more young engineers could aspire to build a career in, could see manufacturing in the light of being a space where whatever they do brings a lot of transformation, a lot of change, and a lot of progress. That is the image that at a personal level I want to create through building this company. But at the same time, because the change happens on the ground, and because the change happens how MSMEs grow and the output that MSMEs are able to increase, that is the, I'd say, biggest KPI, that how much addition to their capacity utilization are we able to bring while doing this. And if we can get more and more smart minds, more young engineers, smart engineers to aspire to do so, because Karkhana.io was able to bring that change in manufacturing, make it more pro technology, more connected at a certain stage, that it has the same glamour as software has.
I have to say that both of you, I don't see that as startups and builders, but I see as nation builders, because in your own ways, what you're doing is not just building a business, building a startup, but also building India, because there is so much to build in India. And rather than सोचना कि कोई और करेगा, मतलब तुम दोनों का बिजनेस सुन के ऐसे लगता है ना कि हम सोचते हैं कि अरे हम जाके फार्मिंग करेंगे, मगर कब करेंगे पता नहीं मतलब ये सॉल्व करेंगे जाकर, बट ग्राउंड लेवल पे रहकर सॉल्व करना इज़ अ बिग थिंग फॉर द कंट्री. एंड आई विश यू वेरी वेरी बेस्ट, बिकॉज टू मी, टू अस, you guys are the nation builders and Bharat sparks, and people who are creating the next 10 years, 15 years of the startup story of this country. So all the very best.